Hello and welcome to Devil's Advocate. After almost 50 years of the Tibetan uprising, where does the Tibet issue stand today? That's the key issue I shall explore in an exclusive interview with His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Your Holiness, it's almost 30 years since you adopted the middle way, giving up Tibet's claim to independence and instead accepting meaningful autonomy within China. The problem is the Chinese have shown no flexibility, no willingness to accommodate you, and on the other hand, the Tibetan Youth Congress is now calling for a more strident, assertive policy. Are you falling between two stools?
Of course, firstly, we fully committed about democracy. So, among our community, there are different views and even very sort of serious criticisms about certain policy. However, our position, not seeking independence, but try to achieve or try to get genuine autonomy, which the Chinese constitution also provided. I think now, although concrete result not yet come, but among the Chinese people, among the Chinese intellectuals or educationists or different sort of Chinese, now showing genuine support, genuine appreciation about our approach.
Let's explore that, Your Holiness. The Chinese Prime Minister Wen Jiabao on the 16th of March laid down conditions that he says you have to accept before the Chinese are prepared to talk to you. He says, first of all, you must abandon all support for Tibetan independence and you must accept that Tibet has always been since antiquity an inseparable part of China. Are you prepared to accept that?
No, actually, now I think whole world knows I'm not seeking independence. But regarding past history is concerned, I always make clear, the past is past. It's not a political decision. It is up to historian, up to sort of legal expert.
Can I interrupt, Your Holiness? The Chinese say that, in fact, you may claim that you've accepted Chinese sovereignty over Tibet, but many of your statements suggest otherwise. They say, for instance, in your statement on Tibetan Uprising Day on the 10th of March 1995, you said, the reality of today is that Tibet is an occupied country under colonial rule. In your famous 5 points, you said Tibet was a completely independent state in 1949 when the PLA entered. The Chinese say that these statements prove that you don't accept that Tibet has always been a part of China. They, in fact, they say, prove you still want independence.
I think even the opinion among the Chinese also differences about past history. Some time back, the Chinese government, they understand since 7th century Tibet became part of China because of marriage. Then eventually that dropped. Then they insist since 13th century. Now even that, they say among some Chinese scholars, there's different views. But in any way, past is past. When People's Liberation Army came to Tibet, at that time, according legal expert, Tibet was de facto independent nation. So therefore, according to that view, we consider occupied land. But that does not mean we are seeking independence, because world is changing, the reality is changing. Tibet, economically, materially, of course, spiritually we are very much advanced, now everybody knows. Therefore, for our own interest, as far as material development is concerned, we want to remain within the people of China.
So therefore you are saying that you have completely accepted Chinese sovereignty over Tibet today?
Yes.
You no longer want independence?
Yes.
But the Chinese say one other thing, Your Holiness. They say that you keep calling for the demilitarization of Tibet, you keep calling for the removal of all Han settlers from Tibet. They say, again, this is an attempt to achieve independence by subterfuge, by the back door.
No. I think this is, they did not carefully sort of read about my sort of statement, one of my statement in early, in 80s. So the meaning, eventually, with agreement with India or other neighboring state, eventually Tibet hopefully should be a zone of peace, demilitarized. That's my just dream. I just expressed.
It's not a condition.
Not now. No.
It's a dream for the future,
yes.
not a condition for
Long
today.
Future, that's right.
One other thing, you have called for what you call high-level autonomy in Tibet, for real autonomy.
Yes.
The Chinese say that Tibet already enjoys autonomy under China. What is it that you want which the Chinese haven't given? Where does Chinese autonomy fall short?
I think many visitors Tibet, including many Chinese, now they once they reach in Lhasa, they once notice Tibet is actually ruled by terror, rule of terror. The autonomy, not that way. The Tibetan should have the final sort of authority in except foreign affairs and defense. The rest of the business which Tibetan can handle even better, because they know Tibetan mentality, Tibetan sort of geographical situation. So that's the meaning I'm seeking. Is the present on paper, yes, there is autonomy, but in reality, every key position occupied by Chinese who have no idea about past Tibet, also the Tibetan culture or Tibetan sort of habit or Tibetan mentality. Besides, of course, no question about Tibetan value of Tibetan spirituality.
And here, this is a condition. This is not a dream for the future. This has to happen now.
That's right. That's right.
This is very important.
That's right.
And when the Chinese say that they have already given autonomy to Tibet, you say, no, that is not autonomy. What the Chinese have given is terror.
That's right. At the moment, rule of terror, it's a reality.
One other thing, Your Holiness, the Chinese say that you keep calling for all Tibetan-speaking people outside the present boundaries of Tibet to be incorporated in an enlarged Tibet. They say that is impractical, it has never happened in history, it can't happen today.
As I mentioned earlier, so we are not looking about past history. Today's reality, the danger of diminishing our own culture, our own language, facing all parts of Tibet. So all Tibetan, entire Tibetans, 6 million Tibetans, they're very much eager to preserve their own culture, their own language, their own spirituality. Therefore, we here in free country, morally speaking, and also I think the reality, we are acting on behalf of these people. So therefore, since we are not seeking independence, since we are not seeking separation, we are very much satisfied if they provide us certain sort of right within the concept of autonomy, self-rule, then we are very much sort of working with Chinese. Therefore, now our main concern or main sort of point is preservation of our culture, our spirituality, and environment.
Which is why all Tibetan people must be together.
Yes, all included.
I understand your attitude. I understand your response to the Chinese Prime Minister. Let me put to you a problem. You're already 71. The Chinese say age is against you, time is on their side.
It's okay. The Tibet issue is not my issue. Of course, not sort of individual person's issue or what's the old institutions' sort of interest. No, no, no.
It will continue.
Whether Dalai Lama institution, whether they continue or not, up to Tibetan people. As early as '69, I stated, very institution of Dalai Lama, whether continue or not, up to Tibetan people. This is not issue. Issue is 6 million Tibetan people.
And that is important.
So long Tibetan people remain there, this issue, unless you solve properly, realistically, this issue will remain.
So in other words, don't hope that the Dalai Lama will die and the issue will end. The issue will continue.
Yes, absolutely.
Let me look briefly at the other side. You've advocated the middle way. Young Tibetans say that the middle way hasn't produced a result. They are becoming impatient. They are tired of living in exile.
Yes.
They want a more assertive, a more aggressive policy. They even talk about the need to use violence.
Yes, now unfortunately, among Tibetan people, and particularly among the youth, not only outside, but also inside, there are a sign of growing frustrations. So, but meantime, see, I always telling them, yes, you are demanding, or you are sort of concerning about our basic right. Okay, doesn't matter. But if they really want a different approach, then they must show us, or show to the people, the systematic sort of method, step by step.
In other words,
that is not very clear.
You're challenging the young. You're saying, I understand your impatience, but if you want to influence policy, you have to do it systematically. You have to show a method. You have to show that you are capable of leadership.
That's right. That's right.
Let me quote to you, Your Holiness, what you said in 2003 to a French reporter. You said, if no results can be achieved in 2 or 3 years of negotiations, I would find it hard to explain to the young people that the middle way is effective. Today, that 2 or 3 year period is over. Negotiations haven't started. So what do you say to the young today?
Concrete results not yet happen. However, the support, the sympathy among the Chinese is growing.
I'm not surprised, Your Holiness, that you see a silver lining on every cloud. Many people believe that the run-up to the Beijing Olympics of 2008 give you the best opportunity for a settlement in China. Do you think you can grab that and make it happen, or do you think 2008 will slip away without a settlement?
Yes, many people, you see, showing that kind of feeling. The Olympic, before Olympic, there's possibility. Now after that, things may become more difficulties. Firstly, as I mentioned earlier, since this is one nation's issue, our political structure, every 5 years, election take place. So if youth, including youth, if they have serious sort of program, then make clear to the public, then next election, yes, let them elect one sort of assertive leader or something. Okay, no problem.
You're throwing a challenge to the youth, aren't you?
No, this is truth. This is true.
One quick question.
I admire, you see, they are sort of, their spirit, their absolute loyalty to our own people, to our own nation, but sometimes they're a little bit impatient.
One quick question.
Oh.
You have been waiting patiently for almost 50 years to return home.
Oh.
Do you think in your lifetime you will see Tibet again?
I think, according the, judging the today's sort of development or changing in China proper, I think things are hopeful. I feel like that.
You're an optimist.
Optimist, yes.
And if you don't see Tibet again, if
no
God
problem.
forbid you were to die without seeing your home again,
Okay.
would you be unhappy?
No problem. No problem. I am Buddhist monk. Now, over 71 years old. These several decades, I trained my mind according to Buddha's teaching. Doesn't matter.
Let's take a break at that point, Your Holiness. I want to come back and in the limited time available to us, ask you about your relationship with the Indian government. We'll be back in a moment's time. Stick with us. Welcome back to an exclusive interview with His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Your Holiness, let's turn to your relationship with the Indian government. In November, when Hu Jintao visited India, the Indian government went to an extraordinary length to stop Tibetans protesting. Tenzin Shundu, one of your more colorful protesters, was even barred from leaving Dharamshala. Do you think it's proper that the world's biggest democracy should have behaved in this way?
Usually, I publicly sort of express the government of India's sort of attitude or policy regarding China in general, particularly regarding Tibet issue, is overcautious. So sometimes, of course, the certain government attitude, create more sort of resentment among Tibetans. It sometimes happens.
So this has created resentment amongst Tibetans?
But you see, in the past, you see, several occasions, you see, sometimes due to some incident, you see, the people, Tibetan community, you see, some resentment comes. Then I usually see telling them, we should look government of India government of India from holistic view. In certain field, government of India's policy is a little bit sort of, or say, they disappoint us. But if you look holistic way, the government of India, I think, done very, very helpful. Last now almost 50 years.
Looking at the Indian government's overall policy, as you say, holistically towards Tibet, do you think today the time has come for the Indian government to revise its Tibet policy, or at least to redirect it?
I think government of India's sort of policy regarding Tibet since early 50s, and particularly 54. So, as a government, it's difficult to change. Even some mistake at that time happened, but then difficult to change. But somehow, I think it is very important review from time to time. That's important.
It is important to review from time to time.
Yes.
Let me quote to you Brahmachalani, one of India's better-known strategic thinkers, who, writing in the Times of India at the time of the Hu Jintao visit, said, "The only way India can build counter-leverage against Beijing is to quietly reopen the issue of China's annexation of Tibet and its subsequent failure to grant autonomy to the Tibetans." And he added, "New Delhi can diplomatically make the point that China's own security and well-being will be enhanced if it reaches out to the Tibetans and concludes a deal which brings the Dalai Lama back." Do you agree with that sentiment?
Oh, that sound very, very nice. Whether realistic or not, I don't know.
But it sounds nice.
Oh, sounds nice.
And you wish the Indian government would listen to it carefully?
That's up to Indian government.
But the smile suggests the answer is yes, even if diplomatically you can't say so. Your Holiness, a pleasure talking to you on Devil's Advocate.
Thank you very much.